Talkin' money. Talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. I always love it when Sacramento leads the news on something positive. Anywho, we'll move on there. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. I don't think we've got a quiz winner yet to this. And let's see here. Okay, so let me give you a little more information. Mr. Trammell introduced the first unit in 1977, the same year that Apple came out with its unit. I'm looking for we know it's a computer, right? I'm looking for the name of the company. First appeared in 1982. The PC market had matured somewhere, and I almost get the name out there. Was considered the industry leader, and he went on to buy Atari. Remember the Atari
Absolutely.
games? Yeah, who introduced Pong. So he bought Atari, tried to convert that and make something out of that. They used to call it, power without the price. He just couldn't. This unit was his biggest unit. This company was his biggest company. Atari never did anything, and eventually ended up selling out and moving on. So if you remember the name of this unit, it was John's hint was what?
Had something to do with a music band back in the day.
Yeah, there was a band by the same name or a plural of the same name. So if you know the name of that company, we'll let that hang out there just a touch more at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Just got an email which reminded me, if you are someone who doesn't like to call in the show or you just like to listen but don't like to participate and you still want a Talkin' Money t-shirt, you can do that. I see that Nancy went on the website and put her name in and has a shirt being ordered, so that's cool. You can do that at jefftarbell.com, and there's the Talkin' Money page there. You just fill in your name and address and put a shirt size, and they'll zip you one off. And there you go. You can have it almost free today. Actually, it is free today. So we'll let that go. Off the text line, this is the problem with reading texts when they come in. So one of the questions was, what did he produce? I'm not sure. I'm going to let that one hang out. It's a stimulus device.
You're not supposed to read what's on the screen.
Stimulus device for females, and I'll leave that at, no, he did not produce vibrators. Okay, it was not vibrators. It was laptop. It was not even a laptop computer. It was a regular computer. I don't even think it had a screen. I think you had to plug it in your own TV. But I think, 17 million of them were sold, so dang near everybody you know, at least someone you know had one of those. So what is the name of the company? It was also the name of a band. A very good band. Oh, now the phones are ringing. See, it was the whole band thing. You got it. It's not the Bee Gees, okay? So don't guess the Bee Gees. Leonard Skinner. No, it wasn't any of those. It was actually a good band. So, hey, a couple calls off in the real estate forum this week. One of them was a text I got this week, which I get this all the time. We'll let John answer this question. Gentleman going through a divorce would like advice on how he can be relieved from a mortgage and turn over ownership to his soon-to-be ex-wife. So what would you tell somebody there, and how do we treat divorce situations down the road, Mr. Lender?
Couple different items. Going through a divorce, not quite divorced. You have FHA rules where you still have to use your spouse's debts, so you're going to pull joint credit. If he qualifies, then he may be okay. Conventional, there's a few different rules there. Probably best if you get divorced first and then move on.
Yeah, so his first question is I did not talk to this person. This was an email just as a question. First question is basically his concern is how do I? So I'm yes, there's all our winners off the text line coming in. It was the Commodore 64, and 17 million of those too. So we'll take one off the text and one off the phone, and we'll get them. So thank you very much for playing along there. Good. It must have been your clue, John. Threw him over the top there. I'm sorry, I digress. So the first question, as I interpret this. I'm going through a divorce, and I'd like to advise on how I can be relieved from the mortgage. Okay, so basically, I think what this person's asking is, okay, we've decided that my wife is going to, or my ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, is going to keep the house. So how do I disassociate myself with that property? Well, first off, hopefully your attorneys have worked it out, and the paperwork states that Mrs. is going to take the house. Okay. So you have a court, 6 months after you agree to that, and the state of California says it's approved, you have a court document that says from this date on, Mrs. is responsible for the house, okay? So theoretically, you have no ongoing obligation for the house. However, in reality, the two of you did. I think this person did a loan together at some point in time. So Mr. and Mrs. are on the loan together, right? That doesn't change when you get divorced. The only way it changes is if Mrs. or if Mr. gets the house, Mr. goes out, takes out a new loan in their own name, qualifies on their own, and takes the other spouse off. That is the perfect scenario, right? That is what you would want to happen, regardless of which side of the table you're sitting on. Ideally, okay, we are not together anymore. Let's split everything up and let's split the finances on this property. That's the ideal world. The reality is sometimes that's almost impossible, if not impossible, to do, at least right now. And in many cases for that I've come across, and I've done probably more divorce scenarios in the last 18, 24 months than I have in my entire 20-year career. But a lot of times you find, this is what I see, it's not stereotyping, the female gets the house, a lot of times because she has kids and they don't want to move the kids out. So she keeps the house and comes to me and says, I'd like to get my ex off the loan and to keep the loan. But that same individual, wife, doesn't have a history of occupation. Her occupation has been raising kids. And the pay's not so good at that job. The pay's terrible at that job. So she has this new document that says, okay, my ex-husband is going to start paying me, pick a number, $4,000 a month. I'm going to get, $1,500 for child support and $2,500 for spousal support, whatever. This is going to start. And so I have income, Jeff. I want to use the $4,000 a month to qualify. So what's the problem with that, John?
Can't use it until it shows up on tax returns, and it's continuous for at least 12 months, really. Yeah,
we don't have a history of collecting income. You, ma'am, don't have a history of collecting income from your ex. Now, as much as I'd like to say it's not true and doesn't happen, the reality is in our world, there's a lot of women running around with a court order for money,
right,
that haven't collected a damn dime,
right,
and are never going to see a dime of it. And we probably could have 15 phone calls in 5 seconds of women who are owed a bunch of money who have never seen a dime and haven't made it on their own. So the lending world says, okay, I see you have a document that says you're entitled to X number of $1,000 a month, but I'm sorry to say we at least need to see that he's going to commit to the document, right? So maybe like a 12-month history of it, at a minimum. And some collection of it. And also, by the way, we have to see that it's going to continue for 3 years, because if your kids are 16, and 17 and you're getting child support, they're going to be off that in a little bit. So you've got an issue there, which makes it hard for the soon-to-be ex-wife to qualify on her own. So you can quit claim off properties. You can have a divorce document that says you're not responsible for it anymore. The reality is you're still on there. So this is the challenge for both male and female in a divorce situation. If there's ever was a reason to stay friendly, you don't have to necessarily be in love, but stay cordial, because the minute that he stops making payments on that mortgage or is late, it affects your credit as well, both your credits, because it's still on there. And you can come to us and we can see that you're no longer obligated for it, and we won't hold you accountable for it, but it jacks up your credit score.
Another brief starting point is to have the spouse that remains in the home making the payment on their own, not a joint bank account, not checks with both spouses' names on them, but the individual living in the home paying the payment out of their own monies. That's another starting point to kind of separate the spouses.
Rebuilding, yeah. So that's a good point. Some underwriters could ask the Mrs. or the Mr. We're generalizing here, but the person who generally wasn't making the income and wasn't writing the checks on the house anymore, if you've taken over that house as part of a divorce or whatever, and even if you're getting money from your spouse for support, don't have them make the house payment. Pay you, deposit it, you write a check. Yep. And make the payment. Show a history of doing that. I do the same thing when I talk about for kids that have parents that co-sign for them. Okay, we've got and I've done this quite a bit with kids that are going to college here locally at Sac State. They've moved up to the area. They're looking around and saying, okay, what is my cost of living here? I can live on the dorm. So dad says, well, wait a minute. Why don't particularly in this market right now, Why don't I just buy this like little $150,000 or $180,000 house, Jeff?
Right.
I'll put my son in it as an owner occupant. He's got 2 of his buddies that they're gonna live there, but so I'll co-sign with him as an FHA, and I'll have him live there, and it's a way of building credit for the son. But and step 2 is I tell the son, look at Dad, give son the money, let son write the check, let him make the payment, get him used to the obligation of making these payments, because someday down the line he's going to come to us and say, how do I get my parents off of this? And we're going to say, well, he's going to say, I got a job, and if he whips out 3 years worth of canceled checks, hey, oh, by the way, I've been writing the check on this every month.
Right.
That helps.
Huge.
Helps a lot. So to our text person who wanted to know how you can be relieved from the mortgage, you got to get your name off the mortgage, however you do that. And until you do that, you're on the hook for at least the credit reality of the credit score, if you will, of what happens. So hopefully...
Another item just to mention, so if the husband, if this wife at the home is making money, has been working, HARP might be a position for her to take a look at to possibly take off, if the house is underwater, for instance, to possibly take off one of the borrowers. Yeah,
I know what I've seen from the HARP, the first ones we've run now, and I know that's been mentioned, but every one of them where I've run, where I've taken, and John's talking about the HARP, H-A-R-P, HARP refinance program, which is only for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans. So that's got to be one of them.
Lots of pieces.
But yeah, there's lots of pieces that go on there. But what I've seen is the minute you try to change how Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac bought that loan, in any event, taking one person on, adding, you've changed. Anytime you try to change that scenario a little bit, it immediately throws a caution out at you and says, "Hey, look, something is not the same as it was year before." So you have to be a little bit. So I haven't seen those been very successful. Trying to take someone off, even if it was like, we had one where like the dad was like a small partial owner and wasn't even involved. We were trying to take the dad out of the process. Immediately threw a caution at me and said, this is not what we bought. And so it's hard to change those too much. Now, the missus in our case here could go out and maybe look at an FHA loan, and maybe her parents, or want to associate and help. Okay, let's help you finalize this, and we'll co-sign with you and get you off of, get you the house back in your own name. So there are options, but you can't just say, I'm divorced, therefore I don't have any obligation. It doesn't work that way. So if you have any questions in that realm, you're welcome to call us at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. We'll take that as well. We're going to talk about a little bit more about the 203K when we come back. We've got to take another break here in just a minute, too. Let me give out another quiz question. Did we ever... we got the Commodore 64. Okay, let's do this one. This one came off of a movie. There's a couple movies regarding this. So... there was once thought to be 350,000 of these in Antarctica. They've been looking and using satellites. They figured out there's almost 600,000, or twice as many as originally thought, of this particular animal in the Antarctic. And there's a movie about them, I think. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. This is Talkin Money. We've got a couple phone lines open if you want to jump in. We'll be right back.